Today, we're going to reveal Pink Pantheress' production secrets. This is why her music is so addictive and she's always going viral. Now you might think she's just lucky, but after doing a ton of research, I can tell you that's not the case. I've uncovered her techniques and I'm going to show you how to use them in your production, starting with a trick for making catchy chords every time. Most of Pink's songs, like you just heard, have very simple 2 or 3 chord progressions like this. However, that can get boring. So how does she keep the listener interested? Well, she uses a technique called the 1-bar response. Essentially, it's call and response, but that's typically applied to counter melodies, whereas Pink uses it with chords. To do this yourself, find a contrasting sound like a vintage synth, then chop a bar of your loop, make it unique, and create a new 1-bar progression. Now, you want it to resolve back to the very first chord. So for example, my first chord is a F minor 7, and the last one in my 1-bar response is a G minor, the chord above it in the scale. From there, it's a case of adding layers. I put in a textural sound, synth lead, and synth bass, as well as a vocal with some clean processing. Now we have a unique 1-bar section that keeps the listener engaged. Next, I'm going to show you a technique that will level up your counter melodies. This is a key part of Pink's biggest song ever, so you know it works. Every time I pull my hair was only out of fear. Whether it's a good thing or not, ringtones get stuck in your head, and the 2000s aesthetic is very in right now. On Boys a Liar, they combined these two things to make a catchy counter melody. But how can we do it? Well, usually ringtones don't have chords, so the melody has to sound good on its own. And as producers, we should apply that thought process to our beats. Too many times, I'm guilty of the counter melody being an afterthought, as opposed to something that can be the standout part of a track. Whilst it is catchy, we still need to give it that 2000s sound. The whole ringtone vibe is synonymous with how old phones sounded. And to process your melody in that same way, start with a bit crusher. Then add some delay, and finally lower the sample rate. And that left us with this. Of course, melodies are important, but Pink Pantheress' sound is defined by her drums. So next, I'm going to show you her 2 favorite styles and the techniques you can take from them. First, UK garage is dance music. This is a big reason why her songs are so catchy, because the drums make you want to move. Problem is, this instantly makes producers think about adding swing, where it's actually the boring on-grid elements that everything is built around. Now that you have that, you can add the swing. So to start, I used a bounce snare, which looks very generic, but it's not. The key is to over-exaggerate the swing knob. Building an on-grid foundation and then being more extreme with a select few elements is a great trick to use with any type of drums. Next, let's take a look at Pink's other favorite drum style. Here, she sampled this drum and bass song. And even when she doesn't sample, she still tends to use very traditional drum sounds. This makes her songs feel authentic because she's not trying to modernize every single element. So for our version, I began with a classic drum and bass break and layered my own kick, snare, and hi-hats on top, as well as an 808. Finally, we have to talk about how Pink uses vocals to bring her songs to life. As you can hear, she loves sampling rap. She also loves incorporating British culture into her tracks. So I ended up sampling a legendary grime song, as well as audio from this iconic video that I thought fit really well. However, it's missing something that gives her music a 3D quality. I have secrets on your son, you know too many. If you hadn't already guessed, it's her ad-libs. But to do that, we first need a lead vocal to get the proper feel as to where they should go. I recorded one, but ran into the problem that I don't know how to mix vocals. Luckily, Lander sent me their new vocal plugins, which make it so easy to make it sound good straight away. First, I used the auto-tune, then Vox Chain, which adds presence, followed by the de-esser and Vox Verb. Really didn't wanna have to leave you alone, but you Then we can do the all-important ad-libs. What makes them 3D is the width and heavy processing. So I use the formant shift on Lander's auto-tune to pitch them up a bit, as well as an ensemble plugin, heavy delay, and heavy reverb.
But you gave me no choice when I went through your phone.
Those vocal plugins are a part of Lander Studio, which has tons of other VSTs, a huge sample library, and much more for a really affordable price. If that's something you're interested in, hit the link below, and here's our final track.
Going out tonight, there's way sweeter ones than you.